This is Teeter Creek off of Cornell Howell Road. It's a tributary of Crocker Creek in the town of Maine. I am in the town of Union of Broome County, New York.
Intermediate is this. This is intermediate. Show you intermediate.
This terrain would best be described as intermediate. It is somewhat difficult. It requires precise footing. This terrain adjusts itself frequently. Large quantities of water will often significantly alter the course and the appearance of the stream. In the summer of 2011, there were two significant storms. There was Hurricane Irene that produced storm-like results resulting in flooding in this area, and there was Tropical Storm Lee, which produced a significant amount of water through this ravine, altering the course of it. Of course, only by a few feet was the course altered. The flat rock in here is rather agreeable for photography, so whenever the water does wash through here, it's always very much so appreciated. It cleans it out, but not at the expense of the storm last summer. Occasionally you'll be able to see my feet stepping on rocks in here as I transcend up the ravine. I choose my steps very carefully, understanding the implications of misapplying a footstep. This can be a very painful and injurious experience. This pool here represents the aftermath of a large fallen tree that had washed away during the Tropical Storm Lee. The entire ravine at this point was filled in with gravel and it is now completely washed out. There are no visible traces of the tree. As I continue upstream, I encounter many rocks that I must step on. Not all rocks are secure, and I must be prepared for some wobble and movement. I will now cross the stream by stepping on the embedded rocks there, and I will continue upstream. Often there is much more water in the stream than is present at this time. Therefore, I would get my feet wet if I were to continue walking in there. I will occasionally climb out of the stream bed and walk along the side where permittable. This is the zone where there was a significant slide during the flood of 2011. And I'm climbing up one more step. And this is the slide zone. This is where many trees have slid down into the ravine. The sides are very, very steep here. There are clay earthen sides a little ways up, and then it turns into a sheer rock cliff. The stream is backed up due to the slide. It's not a very significant amount of water that's retained. And this is the solid rock area that has not been affected by the storm and has merely been cleaned out. At this time, as of late March 19th, there is a significant amount of algae present inside the ravine. That's particularly uncommon in upstate New York for the month of March. I'm very careful with my footing as I continue through here, and you can see the waterfall in the background. Note the fractured rock, how it's fractured in layers. All of this rock here is highly susceptible to fracturing. Therefore, in the springtime, especially during a thaw, there is some danger of collapse. You can see where the sides of the ravine have fallen in. That's all very new, by the way, since last September. So it's an ongoing, perpetuated state of decay. Now coming up to some rather large rocks that I wish to carefully step on. And up and over, I am approaching the base of the waterfall, which consists of many large rocks. The one rock there is not stable. I must walk very carefully on it. There are many downed branches and tree trunks, all of which accumulate a very pleasant moss. The moss is very photogenic, and there's the face that I often like to draw on. That's my artwork there. Perhaps I could start an art gallery if I came up with enough of them, but nobody seems to mess with it, and the reason why is because the people that go back there usually drink, and they find themselves to be in a great state of pain when they fall on the rocks. This is not the place to consume alcohol at. You will not maintain sufficient coordination, and you will be hurting. I'm climbing up the waterfall, however, it's in a very careful and systematic approach. Some of the steps are as high as 4 feet tall. You may have to hoist yourself up. In this particular moment, I'm only carrying a camera, so I'm fairly agile and able to continue. As I climb toward the top of the waterfall, my objective is to simply display it. I'm not going to go over the top on this day. And there it is, looking back. So that's sort of the top of the world type effect, to climb up and hold the camera over the top of the waterfall. Looking down into the ravine, you can see that it is of a considerable height. However, it's all incrementally in steps, and if you are very careful, and if you're respectful of the algae, and you choose your steps precisely, you will not be in any significant danger. This is the next day. I'm picking up where I left off. I'm going to climb one more time up to the top of the waterfall, except this time I'm going to pull myself over. This is difficult. The difference today is that I'm carrying a bottle of water and my t-shirt is wrapped over the bottle and I have a camera in the other hand. So I'm not nearly as free-handed as I was the day before. This is truly some of the most scenic imagery that I have seen in Broome County. I'm sure there are other waterfalls, however, I haven't encountered them. This is the first one that I've discovered all on my own. I'm actually quite proud of it. It's very scenic and it's very soothing. It's a nice, gentle, relaxed environment. But I caution you, do not consume alcohol and come back here. You will be hurting from your mishap. This is a high concentration zone if you're to move through it, and it certainly doesn't take long to come back here. It only takes about 5 minutes to move from the road back here. In the wintertime, there can be more water than there is now. The more water, the more difficult it is to work with the stream unless you don't mind your feet being wet. I certainly do mind wet feet when I'm walking, but, well, even today I will have wet feet. Now, in order to get over the waterfall, I first must be on the other side of the stream. And again, there is algae here. I must be cautious. I'm going to cross the stream, fairly high up. Now, I'm now observing the location that I will pull myself up. I am going to need to use both of my hands, and I'm going to pull my body weight up the remainder of the waterfall. And I want to caution you, this is a very, very difficult occurrence. It's a very dangerous occurrence if it's not done properly. If you, as you can see, a piece of rock did break off. I kicked it deliberately just to get it out of my way. The rock's not so loose that it fractures. I'm placing my foot there, I'm holding my hand there, and I'm not going to do it. I'm not positioned. I'm holding that water bottle and that t-shirt, and that's got to go. There's just no way to hold stuff. If you have a backpack at this point, if you're not comfortable with your center of gravity, remove your backpack and set it up over the top. You're going to need both hands to do this. Okay, so that t-shirt can't be there, that bottle of water can't be there. It's totally in the way. I have to seamlessly hoist myself over. I'm repositioning and I'm now going to use 2 hands to do this. Okay, I've got the camera in the hand, but you can't really see that this is only my 4th time in doing this. Only time number 4. Here we go, and yes, I'm going over. If I fall, I will fall about 4 feet, however, I will risk broken bones as well as other injuries. So now I'm over the waterfall, all the way up and over, looking at where I was the day before. It's a real feeling of accomplishment. But if you use both hands and you hoist yourself over, it will be fine. Now we're going to move forward. This is the upper area of the Teeter Creek above the waterfall, and this is what it looks like. It's rather pleasant. I don't come up here very often. Usually I just stay down below. However, it's nice to come up here once in a while. There's the waterfall back down there. Doesn't really look like much from here. From time to time there will be the occasional reptile up here. They're cold-blooded and they like to come out into the sunlight, and sometimes a garter snake will coil up. It's not a rattlesnake, it's just a garter snake, but they do have a tendency to do that, and they will lash out if you attempt to poke them. I would never, of course, harm a garter snake. They're absolutely harmless, but you may see some from time to time. And there's some rather interesting rock formations up here, mostly in that it's a tilted mass of rock, suggesting that that there's been some disturbance in which a large mass of rock has shifted, it's tilted. That's very common throughout the Catskill and Appalachian Mountains. To understand it in its entirety, you would have to know the surface geology and plate tectonics at the last ice age. The ice age was a major transitional factor in this area. This is the southernmost reach of the glaciers. However, in the process, there have been some very sizable disturbances. You can't see it totally effectively, but that entire mass of rock there is at an angle. It's not perfectly flat. It's all shifted. Don't observe very much of that around here, mostly because it's buried. And this is the fork, or I call it the Y, and this is the symmetrical junction of two streams. The dominant stream is on the left, a tributary is on the right, and it produces a beautiful Y-type appearance. That rock, shifted rock, very, very intriguing. There's the tributary and the dominant stream. What an absolutely choice piece of land to have there. We shall continue along the dominant stream. The tributary flows underneath Teeter Road. Gentle cascade. However, the volume of water back here is significantly less than it is further downstream. I'm using branches or roots as steps. Tree roots often make very good steps. They may have some play or elasticity to them, however, just try everything before you climb on it. I spend much time just using a foot to push up and down to determine that a surface is stable. In fact, one of the rules of engagement when climbing up the side of a ravine is to edge in. The edge of your footwear, dig it into the surface. Don't be afraid to stomp on it. Create steps if you must. We're coming up on the pipeline. This is a transmission line that provides a clearing and a easily accessible path to Teeter Road. So during the summertime when the leaves are present, this would be the brightest spot observable. That's down toward the Union Center area, and then that continues over to Teeter Road. We shall go out that way. Hi, I'm Matthew Klimek. I like to walk, I like to take photographs. The camera happens to record video. In 2010 I first observed this waterfall. I was highly impressed. It's geologically unstable. You can be injured if you go back there. You need to know what you're doing. You need to be on your feet and agile.